Right, it's 6 o'clock. Welcome in, everyone. Um, Today we're going to be talking about the 4 steps of healing, and how this came about is in 2010. My mother passed away, and it kind of just left me in a place of shock. But then in 2022, when my father passed away, I noticed that. Um, I was having this feeling that I couldn't explain. And it felt like I was kind of like light, and, you know, it was like a euphoric feeling. And I kept asking myself, why am I feeling this? After my father had passed, I'm like, why am I feeling this? Or what is it that I'm feeling? And what I heard was, since your father has transitioned, a lot of your emotional weight has been lifted since he's passed. And I'm thinking emotional weight, which I did not have any type of clue or understanding what that meant. But all I knew is, I know sometimes when we hold things in, a lot of things can become heavy. And I say, so what do I do to prevent other people from, having this same type of issue? And the healing process that I was given, I was like, it blew my mind, because I've not seen a process like this. I've applied the process, and it seems to help. And it's in 4 steps. And the first step is called the origin, or the situation. The next step will be your emotions. The third step is accountability slash breaking down your issue or the origin. And your fourth step will be letting go and response. And if there's anybody like to come up, you can come up and speak on, because I would like to know, what is everyone's healing process like? How does everyone heal? Because sometimes we think healing is when we say, you know what, I'm just going to let it go. I'm not going to even worry about it. I'm just, forget that. And that's one way of suppressing it. That's not healing. And when we
Right.
think we walk away from a situation, we think also that that's healing. That's not a healing situation either, because that only uh we only end up carrying still those emotions, because we feel out of sight, out of mind. But yeah, we
Right.
just want to know, like, what process does everybody use for healing, and then we can implement this healing process to see if this can help. Would anybody like to come up to share what
And
their
then a
healing
lot of
process?
times,
Mhm. Mhm.
okay, while we wait on somebody to kind of
Mhm.
give us a,
Mhm.
example of what they do when they come across a situation and,
Mhm.
they're not settled emotionally, like what is your go-to process, when
Mhm.
it comes to
Mhm.
those situations. So another thing too
Mhm.
is that you mentioned
Mhm.
about how people always say, "Oh, time heals all wounds." Well, how long? Like,
Mhm.
who said healing
Mhm.
had a time limit? You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Um, so when it comes to that, people, also assume that over a certain amount of time, like the situation just goes away, and that's not true.
Mhm.
Because
Mhm.
it's a lot of times too, people have situations, from childhood, that they
Mhm.
still haven't healed from. So, when
Mhm.
people say that and ask that, and you ask
Mhm.
that question, like, well, dang, well, how
Mhm.
long is it going to take? You know what I'm saying? Because, a lot of
Right.
grown people
Mhm.
today still are
Mhm.
walking around unhealed from childhood traumas. And
Right.
that is just not a true
Mhm.
statement when it says that, if you're not
Mhm.
applying a certain process and really getting to the root of why is this
Mhm.
happening, what's going on, why do I feel like this. So
Mhm.
do we have
Mhm.
anybody say, okay,
Mhm.
no, not yet.
Not
So
yet.
um
Okay. Mhm.
so we can just kind of dive into it. So mama, you mentioned
Yeah.
um
Mhm.
about when granddaddy had passed, the
Mhm.
the whole transition phase you went through, and me and
Mhm.
Mickey, my
Mhm.
brother, we witnessed the
Mhm.
transition And it was just like you said,
Mm-hmm.
it was almost like a euphoric
Mm-hmm.
evolution, because we witnessed
Mm-hmm.
it, but at the same time you really had no idea what you were experiencing.
Fierce.
um
Right. Mm-hmm.
so a lot of
Mm-hmm.
times too,
Mm-hmm.
you going through this phase, and helping, it's going to help
Mm-hmm.
people, in the long run, but just going through
Mm-hmm.
that phase and you not realizing it, and it's like, now we have the answers, like we really do have the steps for
Right.
you people to heal. So with that,
Right.
you could go ahead, Mo.
Go ahead and tell. Okay, so until we have someone to come up, we're going to start because a lot of people we that you hear, oh, you have to heal, so people think, oh, I go from my situation, my traumas, to healing, but there's a space in the middle, and a lot of people get caught in that middle because it's like, what do? I know I have an issue, I want to be healed, but how do I get there? And some people don't know how to get there, and it's like, where do I start? And sometimes starting with the people that are closest to you. You can
Hmm.
start, with the people that are closest to you. Or sometimes it could be people, somebody on your job. And when you think of somebody, because normally somebody could say somebody's name and then you get this feeling, you be like, And you
Right.
have to ask yourself, why do I feel like that towards that person? Or what is it? What emotion do I feel about them? So
Mhm.
we're going to start with step one, which is the origin, which is the beginning, or
Right.
a situation. A situation could have been something that, you've dealt with, like we said, in childhood, or trauma, abandonment. And when we say loss, suffering a loss, sometimes a loss is not always losing someone. You can lose your house, you can lose your car, you can lose
Your job.
relationships,
Hmm.
your job. Those are all losses also. And we take emotional, it causes emotional issues within us. Sometimes we say, oh, forget it, I don't care, you saying you don't care, but deep down inside you're suppressing that. And those are examples of your situation. Those will be your step ones. And then your next step is, from your original situation, what emotion have you attached to that
Right.
situation?
How did it
What
make you
type of
feel?
Right. How does it make you feel when you think about the situation? And
Hmm.
we carry those emotions because we think sometimes, oh, this is how I've dealt with it in the past, and it makes you feel strong. Because people will tell you, when after you suffer something, oh, you got to keep your head up, you got to be strong,
Stay
and
strong. Yeah.
stay strong. But it's true to a certain point, because we're human, and we
Hmm.
should be able to feel how we need to feel while we going through stressful or suffering a loss. It's not always meant to be strong. And we say it out of cliche because sometimes people will tell you that because they don't want the relationship between you two to dwindle, because sometimes they depend on you, and if they see you kind of in a bad place, it puts them in a bad place because you're their strong person, you're their support system. So to see you doing
Right.
bad, they feel, where am I supposed to get my support from? Which we all should have a safe place within that we should depend on, because if we create a safe place in others, if something should happen to that person, then where does our safe space begin? Like, who are we without that person or that job? And so that's
Mhm.
why it's important to create a safe place, within. And the third step would be like accountability. We have to be responsible for the parts that we play when situations don't go like we plan. Did
Right.
we see the red flags and we just ignored them? Was I feeling bad and wanted, a relationship? Like, when we enter relationships we know that's not good for us. Even
Mhm.
friendships, we end up in relationships, we know it's not good for us, and we see the red flags, but because we want that security, because we want that love, because we want everything that a relationship should bring. But sometimes, because we don't heal, we're not aligned to even receive that relationship that we want. So whatever we have on the inside and we're suppressing, those are the type relationships, friendships, even jobs those are the type that we attract. We attract,
I was just about to
what's
say
in
that.
us.
Right.
That what's
Because
in
a
us.
lot of times too, you know, a lot of people try to understand and figure out, well, why this keep happening to me, or why do I keep getting all of the, the bad
Hmm.
jobs, or why all of my friendships are not successful. And, they always ask
Hmm.
themselves why. And then, in the end, it's
Hmm.
really, you got to dig deep. You got to look within, like, what emotions are you carrying? Because just like
Right.
you said, those emotions are going to attract whatever you have
Hmm.
inside.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
that was a good point.
Yeah, yeah. Because we'll do that, because sometimes we use our trauma emotions, as a protection. But when it comes to emotions, you want to be aware because that's your sense of security. That's your sense of safety.
Your
So you want to be
boundaries.
able
Hmm.
and right, and you have to set up it's okay to set up boundaries, but you don't want to set up walls because when you set up a wall, nothing good can come in and nothing bad could go out. So it's okay, to set up your boundaries and, you know, and find that peace within. Because if you set up that wall, 9 times out of 10, you're gonna get locked behind that wall with all those emotions that you carry in. And
Right.
the fourth step would be once you have processed everything, is your letting go stage, and how you know that you've healed or you've started a healing process is according to how you respond to the triggers. Certain things, will trigger you or cause, you hear certain situations and it'll trigger you, and you could either spiral out or you could say, oh, you know what? I'm familiar with that situation. I'm familiar with that emotion. How do I feel, how do I go to a safe place without feeling like, okay, I'm spiraling out, or I'm losing control of myself. Once you have done this process, it should allow you to be able to respond different. If somebody come at you, they arguing, you should be able to go within and say, you know what? Okay, I'm looking at the situation. I'm looking at the origin. How did this start? You know, how is this making me feel? And when I normally feel anger, what do I do? And that's the accountability to break down. Did I initiate this? Did I have a part to play in this? Is this my
Is
fault?
it guilt? You
Right.
know,
Mm-hmm.
anything.
That's me. That's right. That's making me act like this. But then if your response is different, then that means there's some type of growth there. You're going through the process, and the process is working for you. And the thing about healing is that you can't say, okay, I'm healed and I'm done. You have to literally heal in layers.
Right.
Like you have to heal in layers. Yeah. So
And it's
to
not an
grasp.
overnight
Mhm.
process.
Right. And that's why it's good to have some type of plan in place, because the more you use it, the quicker you'll be able to adjust. You go through your steps really quick and you'll say, you know what? This doesn't have my name on it. Like, I don't really have to, go back and forth with this person, or I don't really owe this person that much of my energy to keep going back and forth, or for them to, make me have a bad day, especially when you get up, early in the morning and something kind of triggers you. You want to be able to process everything without, letting it ruin your whole day, like taking control of your whole day. Yeah.
Right. And
Mm-hmm.
so I have a question. And
Mm-hmm.
so a lot of times too, you give out the process, right? Now a
Mm-hmm.
lot of questions people may have
Mm-hmm.
is it okay to bounce back and forth throughout steps?
Oh, of course. You'll
Hmm.
definitely do that. You can go, back and forth with the process, because until until you have it down pat where you say, okay, this is my process. But it's always going to be something that it's just funny how it's always going to be something that you feel that you need to heal from. A situation can arise, where you feel you're in a good place, and a situation could arise the next day when you wake up, something that'll trigger you. But then once you put this, in place, it may cause you to go back to the origin. It
Right.
may cause you to visit those emotions. But the thing is, when we don't heal, and Michael Jackson, he said it best, I'm starting with the man in the mirror. And we think, oh, as long as I'm looking in the mirror, I can hold myself accountable. But what happens when you walk away from that mirror? Some people forget about, oh, what I need to do to start my healing process. But when we when we walk away, we don't realize that we no longer can see our image. And when we forget our image, it shows up in other people. Like
That's
people,
true. And
like,
not even
mm-hmm,
realizing what you attracting, basically
mm-hmm,
the baseline of your life, whatever it is, relationships, jobs,
mm-hmm,
though that
mm-hmm,
energy that you attract from those people is that's
mm-hmm.
a reflection.
That's a reflection of you.
And that's
And then we
usually
get
like a
up,
reality check. Like, hey,
right.
this is what you attracting. If your life
This,
you feel like it's in
mm-hmm,
shambles, it's
mm-hmm,
like, okay, it's time to go to the drawing board because something is not
right,
aligned.
right, right. And you visit, the emotion that how it's making you feel. And a lot of people, we think we have to, being strong means not being aware of how we really feel about certain things, about certain people. And I mean, it could be family members as well. It's okay to feel how you feel, you know?
Mhm.
It's okay to start a healing process. And another thing in your healing process too, because I mentioned earlier, is that you have to be able to create a safe space. Like, what is your safe space? Because some people say, oh, my home is my safe space. But what if you're out in public? What if
Right.
you're out in public? What then becomes your safe space? If somebody pulls out in front of you real quick, how we have people that have road rage,
Hmm.
and yeah, how do you adjust that quick? Jillian, somebody's asking a question saying, what's the healing routine? Can you give them the healing routine right quick?
Oh, I'm asking. I was asking one of the
Oh, that was
members what's
somebody?
their healing routine.
Oh, okay. Okay.
I
I'm sorry.
asked. Yeah.
I misread that. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, but creating your safe space, like, your safe space should be a place that you can go to that makes you feel secured, that makes you feel love, that reminds you of, positive energy. That should be in your safe space. You could have a bad day, but then you run to that space and say, you know what? I'm worthy. I am enough. Like, those things should be in your safe space. Your safe space should not be always created within someone else. Other people, yes, can give us security. They can give us love. They can give us that. But if we have that on the inside, then that's what we'll attract from other
Right.
people. And we think that, when situations come up, we have to heal the whole situation. You're responsible for healing yourself. you know you're not always responsible for healing the other situation, because sometimes you run into people that just don't want to be healed. they they
Right.
they don't care about it. And then I used to always wonder, how could you keep somebody in bondage? And that's how you can keep somebody in bondage, is when you decide, well, I'm not going to address the issue until they address it. And then what if they never want to address the issue? Then where does that leave you?
Right.
With the
Stuck.
stuck with emotions that you're carrying around. Yeah. So that's pretty much that needs to be in your little
That's
box too. Inside of your safe space. Yeah. So would anybody like to come up to talk about just wanting to heal from a situation, just don't know how to, just don't know which way to go. Like, I want to heal, but I don't know how, or I don't even know if I need to heal. Because we think being strong is healing. We think, oh, I'm not in a relationship with him no more, but he is, or her, but it has caused you trauma and pain, and you figure, oh, well, you know what, I'm just gonna let it go. But you can't let it go, because when we decide to let it go, that's when it comes back more aggressively, but it comes back in other people. It'll be a different situation, but it'll create that same pain.
right. So we have
Yeah.
a response.
Okay.
Jamie.
Mm-hmm.
He said he's not 100% sure of his healing routine, but he's just trying to look for
Okay.
silence and peace.
Okay. So during your silence and peace, because I know, and this is not to say, you, because I mean, we all have growth, but sometimes when people have silence and peace, is it like shutting down? Do you feel like, oh, I'm shutting down? And that's what gives me peace, and that's what gives me, my safe place. So when in your silence, like what are you going through? Like what are you telling yourself during these moments, like during this time? Is there any way we could pull
And
him
then a
up?
lot
Can he
of,
come up? Mm-hmm.
let's see. And then too, just to piggyback off what you're saying, so a lot of
Mm-hmm.
times too, when you having a moment, and this may be the case as well, but when you're having a moment, you feel like it's so
Mm-hmm.
much going through your mind, and the emotions start coming down heavy. You try to look
Mm-hmm.
for that silence and that peace to quiet those emotions, and
Mm-hmm.
in the end, that can almost be suppression as well, just to try to you know
Mm-hmm.
quiet the
Mm-hmm.
mind, quiet the emotions, and then
Mm-hmm.
seek peace. But
Mm-hmm.
at the same time, would you consider that experiencing those emotions, like you said, like you have to go back and dig deep and feel those emotions, and in step two, would you consider that
Mm-hmm.
a part of it?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true because some people have to take a step, they have to walk away. But then as you're walking away, we don't want it, don't walk away and not have a process, because we could walk away from it and then we'll say, okay, I'm good. Then we come back, So what has changed once you have walked away? Like when you do come back, what strength, do you feel like, what have you done to feel different about what you were feeling before? Does that kind of make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So we
Yeah.
do
Mhm.
have. Oh, I
Mhm.
thought we had Rick on the line. See if he had something.
I think Mickey, is your mic disconnected? Is it off?
Wanted to do his
I mean to
intro.
call y'all. I don't want it to be,
Okay, you good.
you know,
Okay, is there anything you want to
so,
add while we
I'll just introduce.
tell
not
us?
not really,
Oh, okay.
not really. Y'all got it. Y'all got it. Do y'all thing.
Okay. Okay. So does anybody want to say anything or come up? Or anybody have any questions like where to start, how to start? Because this process is, like I said, it works if you put I can't like I can't guarantee, but it's a start. It's somewhere where you can start your healing journey without saying, feeling like you're lost or you have to continue to carry these emotions, because once we carry these emotions, sometimes it could cause illnesses that we're not aware of. We think, it's something really going on with us, and but it's just simply, emotions that we're holding in from the past. And like we said earlier, you have to heal in layers because there are different situations, and especially if you suppressed it, you have to be able to dissect, your situations, and to be able to feel like, if a trigger come along, that it's no longer going to affect you in a certain way, or you will not respond, you respond differently.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
Mhm.
I know you
Mhm.
mentioned earlier about your situation and how you stumbled upon
Mhm.
this
Mhm.
whole process. Did you want to kind of like give
Mhm.
your story as an example so they can understand
Mhm.
how to apply the
Mhm.
steps to their order in the situation?
Okay, like I was saying, when my dad passed away, you know, I started having like I felt like euphoric, and I was like, okay, so why am I feeling like a sense of peace? And my dad, has transitioned, everybody, they would call, check on me, how you doing? And I'm like, I'm good, I'm good. And then finally it was something within was saying, tell them how, you're really feeling. And that's when it brought to my attention is like, you're feeling this euphoric feeling. And I'm like, but I don't, want to feel like this since, my dad transitioned. But then I heard, it was almost like, well, since he transitioned and along with his love, you was feeling his emotional weight. It was being projected onto you. And now that he's transitioned, you're no longer feeling that weight. I was like, wow. And I was thinking, well, how can I help someone else so they don't feel like they have to continue to walk around with these emotions and not feel that, it's weight, because we always think about losing physical weight, but we never think about losing the emotional
Emotional
aspect,
weight. Hmm.
right? The emotional weight. And I did, like, when I was first was given the steps, I did a video and I was in athletic wear and it said, are you ready to lose weight? And I know most people would automatically, out of feeling strong, feeling secure, they instantly thought that I was probably talking about physical weight. But it was, like I said, it was the emotional weight. We'd be surprised at the things that we carry because we think it's a part of life. We think that it's normal to carry those emotions, like, oh, that will make you strong. And they say, God gives his strongest battles to, the strongest soldiers. And that's not true. A lot of things we attract on our own because we don't heal. We bury stuff. And then, we walk in the store and you and your friend and, you receive your change and, you receive your change in your hand and your friend, they threw the money on the counter. So the friend is looking like, I was having a good day until this person came in, and we would think, oh, well, why did that happen to you? But it didn't happen to me. But somewhere those two people carry those same negative emotions. And when you don't heal, you open yourself up to other people who also share those emotions. And those people have like an attraction. You have an attraction to each other. And when you come together, it's like you draw each other, even in relationships. And if you keep getting the same relationship, looping the same person, different, same pain, but different situation, you keep getting the same thing. Then you have to ask yourself, where have I experienced this pain before? Like, is this something that I received in childhood, or is this something that, that's new that I've developed, like, oh, because I used to be a type person where, I didn't want to say no. I didn't want to tell anybody no. Like if somebody asked me to do something, I always felt that I had to do it because I wanted to be nice. I wanted to be, I wanted to be kind, which it was my natural personality. But then on the inside, I was like, I don't want to do that. That's not what I want to do. I don't want to do that. But then as you heal, you're not afraid to say no. You come first. You come first. When you're a good person or you're in a good place, then that makes you be in a better place for somebody else. Yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
That's so true.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, and another thing too, I feel that, you know, when we talk about kids, especially male babies, you hear it all the time, little boys, you have to be strong, men don't cry. And a lot of times those relationships, a lot of things stem from those type of, when people say this, and we think that with males, we're giving them courage. We're making them masculine when they're not in touch with their feelings. And I did a video also on this too, because you tell your kids, they play sports, and if their team lose, the kids might cry, they might get upset. And then, some adult, I'm not going to even say it's always men, but it could be females too, tell them, men don't cry, boy, hush up, you'll be okay. But then when they go to school, and then they don't know how to, adjust those emotions when things go wrong, then they start acting out because it's like they don't have an outlet because we have closed that off, because emotions are one way that we communicate, to each other. And when those emotions are closed out, then they end up going to school and they acting out. Then when they act out, then they get in trouble. Then it's almost like nobody understands what's going on. Is because that person has officially started suppressing emotions. And that's something that, that's what we're human. We all have that. That's what we're supposed to enjoy life, being able to experience love, watching movies or something that's emotional. It's okay for us to feel it. We should feel that, comfortable with sharing our emotions like that. Then they grow up, they get in relationships, How do you expect them to relate emotionally in a relationship when we have pretty much shut that off
Suppress,
as a
right.
kid, or
Mm-hmm.
taught them to suppress what should feel good to them? What do we tell them? What how are they supposed? And the only thing they do, guess what? Everything becomes verbal. Everything. They can
Right.
tell you one thing today and tell you something else because they're not emotionally attached to whatever they tell you. But
Right.
then, you look at them like, well, what's wrong with you? I want you to do this for me. I want you to do that for me. They can't because, you know, it's emotional attachment, They don't have any.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then, oftentimes you
Mm-hmm.
will see people in a relationship and it's, they'll, have complaints about, oh, you don't show no affection or, emotion or, stuff like
Mm-hmm.
that. And it's just like, it stems from those reasons.
Right. And then wanting, like in relationships, you want your significant other to do things for you, and you tell them, oh, I want this, I want, bring me this, do this for me, but they're not emotionally attached to them. And when they're doing it because you're saying that. It's not coming from an emotional place. So after a
Within.
while,
Yeah.
it dwindles down, and it's like, so, why are you not still doing this? And then it's a constant repeat of them, you feeling, not loved because they're not doing this, but there's no emotional attachment because everything has been suppressed since, being a child. And we're finding out that, in order for us to shift into a better place, we have to sometimes dig deeper. And people think, oh, I'm in a better place emotionally now. You're in a better place. Why are things still not going right for me? And it's because the emotions from your past that you haven't clearly dealt with is continuing to attract the good and the bad. You'll get the job, but then who you going to meet on the job that's going to give you a hard time, the whole time? And when those emotions show up, it's reminding you of what emotions you need to deal with. It's not to, make you feel like all losses, your life is worthless or anything, but it's to remind you, listen, how you feeling that when you see this person, or when they say, I'm gonna write you up or do certain things, how does it make you feel? Like, pull that emotion out and say, you know what, how do I deal with this emotion? Because we come to learn lessons, and when we miss the mark of learning certain life lessons, that it keeps showing up in people that's closest to us, because those are the people that we attract. But once we learn the lesson and we heal from it, then you'll be surprised it won't show up again.
Right. That's true.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
that's how you can develop your growth as well.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Any
Well,
situations, Jilly, that you can say that you feel that your response is now different from
oh
looking
yeah,
at the
absolutely.
process? Mm-hmm.
Um, so for me, and it ties back into,
Mm-hmm.
like you said, relationships and, just
Mm-hmm.
stemming back to, um, significant others.
Mm-hmm.
It's like from my past relationship, there were things
Mm-hmm.
and, there were triggers, a lot of triggers that
Mm-hmm.
would, immediately set me
Mm-hmm.
off, or just the name
Mm-hmm.
or the situation, or just, going back and repeating
Mm-hmm.
those stories and, anything that
Mhm.
happened. And then now today, and I had to go back and I had to do a lot of homework. Like I had to go back and dig deep. Like, okay, well, why did this go wrong, or what could I've
Mhm.
done differently for this not to happen? Um,
Mhm.
and
Mhm.
now that I went back and did the
Mhm.
digging and did the homework emotionally, and it's like, okay,
Mhm.
now when I go to
Mhm.
talk about a situation on my past, it's like, there's no triggers for
Mhm.
me because
Mhm.
I've let go, which is the
Mhm.
last step of healing.
Mhm.
And once you let
Mhm.
go, you'll know
Mhm.
when you let go. Once you let go, it's
Right.
like it's a wrap. It's done. And
Right. Mhm.
honestly, it get to the point and it almost feel unreal because it's like, dang, like how did I get here?
Right.
It's a feeling
Mhm.
of wow, like this feel like it never happened. You know what I'm saying?
Wow. Freedom.
That was the
Mhm.
feeling. It was like, this never
Mhm.
even happened. Like I could go up to you and talk to you as if I never
Mhm.
even met you and I don't feel anything. There's no connection. Like I don't feel anything like from the past. Like it's
Mhm.
like completely vacant.
Like a clean slate.
A clean
Mhm.
slate. Like
Yep.
we just met.
Mhm.
and,
Mhm.
and just thinking about it now because a lot of times too you let go of a situation, you get to that point and then
Mhm.
you try to go back and be like, wait, let me see if it's some more emotions that I probably didn't really tap into. And when I got to that point to where I kept digging and it was
Mhm.
nothing left for me to really like dig, it was nothing left, I was like, oh, I'm healed. Baby, I'm healed.
Right.
Like it's
Right.
a wrap,
You know. You know.
so
Mhm.
and that
Mhm.
it's one of the best feelings in the world because a lot of time, and it was a struggle.
Mhm.
Like you have
Mhm.
rough days. Like the process it's not a pretty process. Um,
Right. It's not going to always be. It's not going to always be a pretty process. Yeah.
right. So you got to be
Mhm.
willing and ready to really get to that point and get that weight lifted off of you, like you said. Um,
Mhm. Mhm.
but other than that, it was phenomenal process.
Oh, right. And then you keep applying it because, new situations that we have to deal with, as we grow. But
Right,
then it doesn't allow to control your life because you know how to deal with it. You know how to look at it and adjust, real
right,
quick before it settles in and allow it, like I say, to control you and to take you, slide you back, from your growth, slide you back into a place where it's not good for you.
right.
And because sometimes when people carry emotions, it become almost like a cloak for them. It
Hmm.
becomes their strength. It's like they're wrapped in it, because they feel like, so if I heal and I lose these emotions that I feel that made me strong, but these are the ones that they attack with. Sometimes they're not even attacking you from the present. They're attacking you with emotions from the past. And that's like their armor, that they put
Hmm.
on. So when you get in a disagreement, that's what they're attacking you with. They're not attacking you with the situation at hand. And
Right,
it's almost like, going in a closet and putting on a jacket. Like as soon as, a disagreement start, oh, I'm reaching in the closet and I'm putting this on because guess what? I'm ready. I'm ready to attack.
right,
But then you're attacking from a wrong, a place because you're not even aware of your present moment. And sometimes you can't get there because you're so full of your past emotions and some people don't even know how to get rid of those emotions. They want to, everybody want to be healed, but
hmm,
everybody don't always know how. And like
right.
I say, they'll
This
attack you,
stuff.
with those emotions, and they thinking, so if I heal and I lose these emotions, then who am I? Like, am I still gonna be a strong person? Like, am I still gonna be, respected, or I'm gonna feel less of a man or less of a woman if I don't have these emotions? But those emotions are negative, You have to
Right.
replace those with positive emotions. Yeah.
Right. And then I know you
Mm-hmm.
mentioned earlier about how that positivity, well, when you carrying too much
Mm-hmm.
negativity, how that tap into your power and, interfere
Mm-hmm.
with the positive energy that you want. So
Mm-hmm.
that's something
Right.
else to keep
Right.
in mind.
Right. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And I'm just trying to think of some like other examples that that we face, so we can get an
So,
understanding. Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
right. So I think a
Mm-hmm.
lot of times too,
Mm-hmm.
um, so you talk about, we talking about healing right now, but at the same time, you have
Mm-hmm.
grief too. So
Oh. Mm-hmm.
what would be, so
Mm-hmm.
this just, it just dawned on me because I'm just thinking about it. So you have grief,
Yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
do
Mm-hmm.
you think you can be, you can actively grieve
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and, still be in the healing journey, or
Yeah.
say you healed? Because, like,
Yeah.
you have bad days, right? And
Right.
sometimes you starting back at square one.
Square one. Yeah, especially if it's fresh. You can't in it in with grief. See, grief is sneaky, is tricky, is
Mm-hmm.
it all it comes from out of nowhere. But also grief has triggers as well. You got to think
Right.
about, sometimes you might hear a song, you
Right.
might
Mm-hmm.
see somebody with the same birthday, and it's okay. But see, and healing doesn't mean I can't cry. I can't respond like I
Right.
want to.
Okay,
You
that's what I'm
know,
trying to
you
get right.
you're allowed to feel how you feel at that moment. Your goal is to not have it where you go into a state of depression, where you go, into a state that is too deep that you can't get out of, where you can't function. Yeah,
Right.
see here, right. That's no, you're allowed to feel how you feel, because that keeps you in tune with your emotions. You have to keep your emotions open, just like I said, because your emotions will let you know when you're in danger. So you need that. You can't
Right.
suppress that. And that's why, a lot of people get into situations that was like, well, I wasn't aware, I didn't feel that, or I didn't know, and somebody next to them say, man, I saw that coming a mile away. That person may be more in tune. That but doesn't make that person a better person than the other person, but it just makes them more aware of, of their emotions, and how they're feeling and what they're feeling. Yeah.
Right. Uh-oh.
Yeah.
We got some
Mm-hmm.
questions in the chat.
Okay. Why can't we invite the person to come up? That's what I was trying to do. For me, it's numbers, dates, and times. Oh, that brings my emotions. You said somebody wanted to come up?
It was just comments in the chat. So this
Shit, the
Kira, she
shit.
said, I don't know, Julie, I'm currently healing and grieving, and I don't know how I be feeling sometimes. And then she said, for me, it's numbers, dates, and times that bring my emotions.
Does it bring positive or just make you feel um okay, is it positive emotions that you feel, or like emotions that kind of put you in a sad place, which is okay? Which is okay. I got you. Okay. I see, Kira. Yeah.
Oh,
Like what type of emotion? Yeah, I'm asking you, Kira, like what type of emotions does it bring? When you saying dates, numbers, and times, does it, oh, it brings both positive. Yeah. Yeah. That's normal. And like I say, feel how you feel. If you want to cry, cry. It's okay to cry. And that's the thing of the healing
mm-hmm.
process, is be in touch with your emotions. It's okay.
Right.
Feel, don't be afraid to feel what you feel. Don't be afraid to say, oh, I want to cry. Or if you're looking at a movie and it brings you, emotions, it's okay to do that. That's part of the healing process as well, because like I said, it's almost like we've been taught to not feel, like we're not supposed to feel. And that's not normal, you know? And
Okay.
everything starts with self. You have to create, because a lot of times we accumulate titles. As soon as we come in, you know, we're a daughter or we're a son. That's our first title. So we feel obligated to play that role. We're a sibling, we're a sister, we're a brother. We'll play that role. And then as time goes on, we become a mother. Then we become an employee. And we take on all of these titles. And not once have we stopped to say, you know what, who am I without all of these titles? Like, what if all of these titles were to go away today? Who would I be?
Who am
like,
I? Mm-hmm.
Right. Who am I? Like, what is my foundation? Like, how do I move? Like, how do I really feel about things? What are my likes? Do I go certain places because I have to? You know, do I have to go to the soccer field? Do I have to go to the baseball field? You know, do I have to go to the basketball court? You know, do I have to visit the schools? Do I have to do all of these things because of my title? Like, if I didn't have these titles, like, who am I without those titles? And a lot of times, like I said, when we come in, the world build our foundation for us. We don't stop and say, you know, I need to figure out who I am until we suffer something, a loss, a job loss. Then we kind of fold in like, oh my goodness, like, what do I do? But when we go ahead and set that foundation prior to any situations that come up, then we can say, oh, this is my safe place. I have a safe place that I can go to, but I feel like crying today.
Right.
I want to cry, you know,
Yeah.
and, you know, I just want to have a day where I want to cry, but it's okay to cry. But then after you're done crying, then you tell yourself, you know, I'm okay. You know, I'm going to be good, you know. And then in your safe place, you remember the good times. You remember the good videos. You remember the laughters, you know, after,
Right.
you know, losing someone. That those things need to be in your safe place that you can run to right quick. Because I could, you know, it's times where you feel like, oh, I just want to cry. And then after a while, out of the blue, you just stop. You be like, you just
Right.
stop. And then you start
Because you
thinking, you know
say,
what?
right.
Right. You've created that safe place for yourself. Yeah.
In those
Yeah.
boundaries. Right.
Right.
Yeah. Because that's
Chris said,
definitely,
yes,
you
I'm a
know,
crybaby. Hmm.
yes, because you know,
Hmm.
I have my moments, you know,
Yeah,
especially with
we all do.
Marshall and stuff. And, you know, a lot of times people will look at me and, you know, they say, oh, well, you so strong and you know, you
Hmm.
didn't cry or,
Hmm.
you know, when
Hmm.
at certain times, but it's like, oh no, baby, I have my moments.
Right.
It's just
Right.
when
Hmm.
I'm feeling when I'm on that high of knowing where I'm at with the situation, and because you
Right.
have to be there in order to attract that person as well. Like Marshall pop up in my
Right.
dreams all the time. All the time. All the time.
Right.
He send me signs.
Hmm.
I see his birthday all the time. Number. He always
Yeah.
giving me signs. And it's like, I want to
Hmm.
stay on that high because I want to feel connected to him. You know what I'm saying? So
Right.
that's
Hmm.
where I'm at, you know, with the situation. And, you know, it took
Hmm.
me a while to get there, but at the same time, you know,
Hmm.
you go through that grief roller coaster and it's like,
Yeah.
okay, I don't want to be
Right.
in this spot in that beginning phase where you know, you
Right.
upset and I want to move. I'm trying to reach Marshall. I need to talk to him.
Right.
You know, I'm trying to
Right.
attract him, right? Because he's, you
Uh-huh.
know, he's still here and he's just at a
Yeah.
higher realm. So when it
Yeah.
comes to you know, I had somebody ask me like, you know, what is your healing process? Like basically, what are
Hmm.
you doing to, you know,
Yeah.
because it's something that
Cope.
I'm doing that looks very
Hmm.
healthy at the same time. How am I
Hmm.
coping? And I said, I'm
Right.
still keeping him alive on this side, you know, like
Right.
you keep him alive on this side. Like you know, his picture, I
Hmm.
talk to him, I say stuff, you know, and
Hmm.
you be surprised how much better you feel because just like you
Hmm.
said, he's at a higher state. So if I'm low and down and, you know, always
Right.
moping, like I can't reach him because he's not down there. So I try to stay on the high. I
Right.
have my days where I be like, dang, you know, but I
Yeah.
go back to my safe space and I'm like, no, if I stay here too long, I won't be able to
Right.
reach him. So
Right. Right. So that's pretty much your driving force is to stay at a higher frequency, higher vibration because
Hmm.
that's where they are now. And I hear some people say I haven't, they haven't come to me yet or I haven't, had a dream about them yet. And then sometimes you have to check, your emotional status like where are you with them? Is it going to be too detrimental? Because I know that when it's too detrimental, they figure if they come to you in a dream, if it's going to hurt you, they won't come.
Yeah,
They
right.
won't come.
You will know when it's time
Mhm.
because I
Mhm.
honestly tried to rush that process in the beginning and it didn't work. It didn't work
Oh.
because I tried
Uh-huh.
to rush myself to get there and it's like, no. And that's when
Mhm.
I finally had my moment. And it was a month later after everything, had originally happened. It was a whole month
Right.
later when reality
Right.
finally hit me and it all set in. And it was like, you can't get there
Mhm.
until you go through this. You know what I'm saying? Like, you got to let this
Right.
go
Right.
before you can climb that ladder. So,
Mhm.
yeah, it's a
Right.
process. It's
Right.
no rush.
Right. You don't
It
have to
takes
rush.
people longer than the next. So,
Yeah. Yeah,
it's
that's
no
okay.
rush, but just knowing, the mission is to keep
Mhm.
climbing that ladder so you can keep going.
Right. And I also have found too, like when I'm starting to think about him or starting to miss him or if I start crying, he'll send something quick. Like, mama, don't do this. Like,
Don't
don't do
start.
this. I'll right.
Right.
I'll look around and I'll see something and it'll make me laugh because I know that he's energy now, and they're not here in the physical, but they're able still to make things happen to let you know that they're still there. So
Mhm.
yeah. So you can cry if you want to. And they'll come, to comfort you, to say, send signs like, I'm okay. And we know if anybody don't know what his favorite food is, because I I don't know why, because I can ride, and if I'm feeling some type of way, a Domino's pizza place, Papa John's, Pizza Hut delivery guy might, ride by, and I'm like, oh wow. And then I'll start laughing. I'm like, okay, you see me, like I see you acting up, I see you cutting up, but it's like, no,
Yeah, it's fun.
I'm
It
still
became
here.
fun to
So
me as far because my thing is
yeah,
you have to
yeah,
come to realization that what it is.
yeah,
Like, so it's either you
right,
gonna sink or swim when it comes
right.
to, what you
Your
want.
emotions.
Do you want to
Mm-hmm.
continue
Mm-hmm.
the relationship and bond because you can? Like he do all type
Right.
of stuff in here. He play with me a lot in here. He do all type of stuff, and it's so funny because it's like wow, like you really are still here. You know what I'm
you
saying? So
you can really
you be
see and
surprised.
feel,
You really be surprised. Hmm.
Kira said, I told you about the Domino's commercial. Right, right. Yes, yes. And the thing is too that we're thinking, like once they're leaving, once they have left, that's it or whatever. But it's almost like they came to learn a lesson. Some of us stay longer because, we're here to help, here to help everybody else. Some people say, I want to come, I want to learn my lesson, and, I want to go. And that's all that is. So they didn't leave you to leave you with guilt, to leave you with pain, to leave you with all of these, emotions that we feel negative. They didn't come to do that. And sometimes even if they leave and you're in a bad place with them, you still can't, you still got to find a way to fix that because you don't have that person here anymore. You're not going to always have that person here to make up, thinking like, oh, I'm going to make up or I'm going to apologize or I'm going to do that. You're not going to always get that. So you have to be, you have to set your foundation where that's your safe place, and you have to heal yourself. When we get used to healing ourselves and not depending on other people, because like I said, a lot of people might not want to be healed. Everybody don't want to be healed. Everybody want to walk around with the trauma, but then you have to decide if you're going to let that person drain you or if you're going to let that person, are you going to pull them up to where you are? And if they don't want to come, you can't drag them because then that becomes dead weight. Emotional weight, dead weight. So yeah, we have about 6 minutes left. Any more questions, or I'm hoping that this is helping,
I
someone.
got a question
Mm-hmm.
from the back,
Okay, what's the question
Okay.
from the back?
all the way from the back.
Mm-hmm. What's the question?
Question, man. Y'all doing a good job.
We're doing a good job. Thank you so
Oh.
much.
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
and that's just, part of it, because
Mm-hmm.
death is really like one of the, that's really
Greatest
the heaviest.
losses.
It is. It
Mm-hmm.
really is.
Mm-hmm.
And we see
Yeah.
it on the internet every day, and that's usually a make or break for some people. Like some people just can't get
Right.
over the hump, right? So
Right.
this is
Mm-hmm.
this is something that has to be talked about, because
Mm-hmm.
it's
Mm-hmm.
everybody can relate. Everybody can relate.
Everybody can relate to this. Yeah.
Yes.
Everybody can relate. And the goal, the reason why, you know, the reason why we want you to heal is because we want you to attract better. Like
Hmm.
we want, because you constantly and you say, what you want, the things that you want to feel, because people want better relationships, people want better, relationships with their employees, but see, healing is your power. That's your power to think it, to speak it. But if you're thinking it and you're speaking it with negative emotions that you're carrying, what are you actually putting into an existence for yourself? Like what are you okay in to say, well, you know what? I'm mad with this person. If you're still mad with somebody 10 years ago, mm, you're waking up every day and deciding that I'm going to bring that anger with me. You're putting it on just like you're putting your shoes on, your pants on, your jacket, your hat, your makeup, your lipstick, whatever. You're deciding to carry that. And when you carry that, guess what? You give that person 100% access to you,
Hmm.
because now you two share that emotion. You continue to
Right.
share it. And when you heal, sometimes that's when relationships separate. Everybody think, oh, it's this and it's that, it's because of this, it's because of that. No, when you got together, sometimes and it's always good in the beginning, of course. Every relationship, you're always going to show the good. But when it's the bad, it's for you to remind each other what you both are carrying. Can you heal together as a couple? Yeah, of course. You have to want to. But if you can't, then you have to heal on your own. You have to do your own journey. That doesn't say that you have to not be with that person, but you can eventually, once you heal, then sometimes that pulls them in to want to be a better person, to want to heal.
Right.
So yeah,
Right.
10 years is a long time. Yeah. If
It
you're still
is.
angry with somebody about something, 2 months is a long time. If you don't have like a somewhere where you can put that, until, 'cause sometimes, no, you're not going to heal overnight. No, you have to think about it. But then when the accountability comes in, see, everybody, when they hear accountability, they hear blame. Like, oh, it's your fault. I'm going to hold you accountable for this. But what it does is it brings it to the forefront to say, you know what? When I'm in a vulnerable state, like when I'm feeling like I want love, this is how I react. I get into a relationship that I shouldn't. That's what accountability does, but it helps to prevent you from not ending up in that situation again. So when you
Hmm.
feeling like, oh, I need love, and it's like, oh, you know what? I love myself enough that I don't want to get in that situation again, because that's not good for me. That didn't
Right.
do any good for me. So yeah, yeah. hmm Any more questions? Anybody have any questions? We have about 2 minutes left. Anything you
I'm
wanna
loving this.
I'm
Oh, I
loving
want
it
to add
too.
something. So,
Yes.
um,
Mhm.
and it really so this is
Mhm.
something that I saw, and you think about the
Okay.
industry. This don't
Okay.
this not just us, these people, millionaires, everybody walking around
Mhm.
like this. And just like they say,
Right.
money don't buy happiness, it don't,
Mhm.
because they
It
walking
doesn't.
around unhealed.
Mhm.
So I
Mhm.
watched a video, I think it's it's a old rapper from Atlanta. His name Bank or something, like Big Bank or something. But anyway, he
Okay.
had Young Thug on
Mhm.
YouTube, and this one he was
Mhm.
going through the whole issue with Gunna, right? And I'm
Mhm.
just like, he was messed up. Young Thug was messed up. He sat on his man couch, and Bank
Mhm.
told him, "Man, you just gotta heal. You just gotta heal." And he was like, "Well, what I gotta do? Like, what do I have to do?"
Right.
And it's
Right.
so sad that you pay all this money
Mhm.
to some therapists,
Mhm.
and some
Mhm.
people that you really invest in
Mhm.
to give you the answers, and it's like you're not getting
Mhm.
this out there. You're not getting these answers out
Right.
there. Yeah, you're
Right.
not getting these answers, and it's like
Mhm.
it was just mind blowing to see him like that.
Mhm.
And I was like, a lot of people really just don't know, and it's sad,
Mhm.
but we here to help.
Yeah.
We
Right.
are
We here
here to
to.
help. So share it. We're
Right.
gonna keep coming on, sharing our
Mhm.
thoughts. And you don't have to show your face. Like next time, if you wanna get up here
Mhm.
and just talk, just join in and talk. Like nobody has to see your face or anything. Just if you wanna,
Mhm.
express your
Mhm.
situation and figure out where you
Yeah.
at and what steps you need next, just yeah. Come on.
Right. Because we want it to be a safe place. We want you to feel safe. We're not going to judge you. And
Right.
as you all notice, the whole time we've been talking, this has been about self.
Right.
This has been about self. This has not been about any title. We've not mentioned, where you work. We've not mentioned how much money you have. None of that has come into play because all of those things are byproducts. Those are what you attract when you have everything in order. Some even money, money, you have to be in a place, and you have to be in a line to even attract that. So it doesn't matter who, it doesn't matter where, it doesn't matter how. These emotions are here to, so you can be in a good place so that you can attract the best of those things. But when we're not in a good place, it shows, because you can look right now and see what's on your timeline. Let's talk about, Facebook, Instagram. What's popping up on your timeline?
You say
What type of
positivity?
situation?
Hey, how,
Right.
how much how
hmm
much time y'all got left?
We could talk. I mean, we could continue. We was just going to do an hour
Okay,
initially.
yeah, but y'all,
hmm
that's another hour.
Well, yeah, we
Exactly.
gotta
What's
save
popping
some
up?
juice, but listen, it get
Yeah.
deep.
That's
We
another
get deep
hour.
over here.
What's on your
What's on your
time? What's on
timeline?
your algorithm? I walk
What's on your
around all
Right.
day.
algorithm?
I walk around all
That'll
day
be.
saying that's
Maybe
not in
we'll
my
save that for the next one.
not in my
Go ahead, Vicky.
algorithm. I say not in my
Right.
algorithm. A lot of times it's like, oh, you saw the so and so in
hmm
the not in my algorithm. I don't
I'm
attract
like,
that. So I know I
I'm like,
know I ain't
no.
saw that. And it may
Right.
be something, something that's important to you.
Right.
I'm not gonna be dismissive of it, but I don't want that. I don't want that energy in my. I don't want to see about the man
Mm-hmm.
that got shot. I don't want to see about
Fighting. Mm-hmm.
the fight and the Amber Alert, the
Mm-hmm.
baby. I don't want to see. That's not. I don't want to attract
Mm-hmm.
that. That's not in my algorithm. And I think that's what
Right.
sometimes, like you say, you attract that. You keep
Mm-hmm.
people going, and
Right.
you
Mm-hmm.
recharging with a temporary battery. That's temporary.
Right.
You think you're thinking that's what's keeping you going, but
Right.
nah, it's other things that you're supposed to be charging your life up with. Not stories and
Exactly.
media and propaganda and all that. Nah, man.
But
We
that's what they
passed that.
push for, the distraction. They push that
Yeah.
to distract you so you can't do the work you need to do on yourself. Because it's
Hmm.
okay to miss that. It's okay to not, see certain things that's you feel that, you need to be a part of, you used to be a part of. But then that your timeline will also tell you your growth and where you are and what you want. And are you serious about, your next move? Yeah. Mickey, you want to
Yeah.
introduce Get Your
Right.
Shift Together? You want to say what Get Your Shift Together? Or what it's
Yeah,
going to be about in the coming?
get your ship
Mm-hmm.
together part coming soon. No,
Mm-hmm.
seriously, no. This
Mm-hmm.
is just
Mm-hmm.
it's time for people to get their story out, right?
Right.
To let people
Mm-hmm.
know that it's
Mm-hmm.
okay to move forward. It's okay to move backwards. My thing is
Right.
self-awareness
Mm-hmm.
and just knowing that you have the ability to move in any
Mm-hmm.
direction you want to. Right? We're so
Right.
used to
Mm-hmm.
horizontal and vertical. You know, you could jump
Mm-hmm.
diagonal, you can spin you it's so many other ways you can move. There's so many other
Mm-hmm.
ways you can shift. But
Mm-hmm.
basically the
Mm-hmm.
pod is about times where you felt stuck or where you
Mm-hmm.
didn't know the meaning of your transition. Why are you transitioning? What's going on? Why you know what I'm
What
saying?
did
And
something
it's
make you transition?
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
did you and is that, did I go
Mm-hmm.
backwards? Did I go forwards? Did I jump left? Did I jump right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's
Mm-hmm.
you know, it's a space for people to just come and
Mm-hmm.
talk, man. Just get it off, right?
Right. Yeah.
Because it's
Mm-hmm.
basically you coming into a space, like I say, safe space,
Mm-hmm.
and just letting you get off whatever you need to get off. I tell people all the time, you
Mm-hmm.
know, I feel like I'm a guide. I feel like I'm a navigator, right? I can't tell you
Mm-hmm.
what to do, but I
Right.
can tell you how to, move. I could tell you how to move around. I could show you. My thing is,
Right.
you got to be willing to
Mm-hmm.
accept that, and
Yeah.
also people got to be okay with that, right?
Right.
If
Mm-hmm.
what you got going on is your current destination, right? That's
Mm-hmm.
your current
Right.
destination. How can you tell
Mm-hmm.
somebody what to do if you don't know where they are? Right? I put everything
True.
in the mind frame of a GPS, right? Before you
Mm-hmm.
get ready to go to that new place,
Mm-hmm.
what do they ask you? What's your starting point? Because I can't tell you where to
Right.
go if you don't know where you at, right? So
Right.
that's your current
Mm-hmm.
destination is where you are, and that's kind of where we have to be. We have to meet people where they at, and
Right.
then
Mm-hmm.
kind of guide them and help them to their new destination. We got to be okay with them making those
Mm-hmm.
stops. We got to be okay with
Right.
them making that right turn instead of
Mm-hmm.
that left. We got to be okay with that because when you do it in the
Mm-hmm.
GPS, you go the wrong way. What it do? It tell you to do
Mm-hmm.
Redirect
what?
you.
Reroute.
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 Hmm.
Yeah, it
Reroute.
don't turn off. It don't tell you, oh, you go. The only time it talks to you is when you going the wrong way, the absolute wrong way, right? Other than
Right.
that, it's going to redirect
Mm-hmm.
because it's okay with that. You want to
Right.
take the
You're going
long way
into incoming
around?
traffic.
That's
Right.
Right.
fine. That's fine. And that's what get
Mm-hmm.
your shift together is about, man. Just
Mm-hmm.
who's your
Navigating. Yeah.
yeah, navigating. That's it.
Yeah.
Which way you
You sure
going? Which
can't
way
wait
you
for
want to go?
that.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's just an
I'm excited
intro,
about
scratching
that.
the surface. And then
that's
I got
man.
one
Right.
last thing to add, and then we can wrap
Okay.
up. So, kind of like
Uh-huh.
piggybacking off what you were saying about the algorithm, right? So,
Yeah.
at the same time, like it's okay to like we all scroll and we all see funny
Yeah.
things and we all share, it, but
Yeah.
it's all about how you receive it. Are you accepting that? You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Like, are you allowing
Mm-hmm.
that to, take
Mm-hmm.
over? Like, it's okay to
Right.
have fun and, laugh at silly stuff and, see what's going
Mm-hmm.
on, but it's how you
Mm-hmm.
receive it. It's like, are you
Right.
really, making that your day to day?
Mm-hmm.
Like, are you including that into who you are and what you about? So I think, that plays a
Mm-hmm.
part too. It's
And
about
then
how you accept the certain things.
if you
Hmm.
are, own it. You know? Like Mickey said,
Right.
we can't tell you. We can give you the tools. We can
Hmm.
offer tools, and then it's up to you. To use them where you need to use them, how to use. But also know, the result is definitely coming. You're going to get the result of what you've been doing, and they do it on your phone. TikTok will tell you in a minute.
Hmm.
You've been scrolling this long. Your phone will tell you you've been on your phone this long. So there's something keeping track. And your algorithm, your timeline also keeps track. Because guess what they'll do? Year to the day. When we post
Hmm.
things or when we repost, even when we repost things, it'll tell us, oh, year to the day. Remember, you posted this, are you still feeling? And that's a way too you can check to say, am I still feeling the same way I felt when I posted this? Because sometimes I find things like, oh, I posted that. I'm like, oh, I'm deleting that. That no longer serves me. Like, oh, I
Exactly.
posted that. Like, oh, I can't believe I
Hmm.
posted that. But, I have to own it and say, oh, that no longer serves my purpose. And it's okay. It's okay. Yeah.
Right.
Okay. You want to wrap up, Jilly? Mickey, you
Yeah.
want to wrap up?
Do
Yeah.
I
We
want to
good to
wrap
go.
up?
Yeah.
Y'all look. it's only
Mm-hmm.
gonna get better from here, y'all.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's only the
Of course,
beginning.
it's always gonna come down to, you.
Mm-hmm.
And each
Yeah.
time, we do something like this, that's who we talking about. We talking about you. We're not talking about
Yeah.
the man down the street, the lady across the road. It's about
It's
you because
good point.
uh, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
it's not about it's not
Mm-hmm.
your we live in a world of imperfections. We'll drive
Mm-hmm.
ourselves crazy trying to
Mm-hmm.
go out there and perfect it. You feel me? Like it's gonna be things wrong. It's gonna be things that you don't have any control over. Right? You
Mm-hmm.
just have to be you gotta be
Right.
okay with that and you have to know where you are, where you stand.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Exactly. Right.
And,
Because,
And
you
you
know,
have to
we
be
all
man.
made
honest. Yeah.
right,
Yep.
you
Mm-hmm.
have to because just for
Mm-hmm.
us three alone, like we all experienced the same loss, right? But we
Right.
all were in different parts of the journey, right? And we had to be
Mm-hmm.
transparent with each other, like, hey, well, guess what? I'm not there yet.
Mm-hmm.
Or, well, I'm still
Yeah.
stuck here. And you help each other and you build and you have to be patient. You have to be
Right.
patient with yourself.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And you have to understand, like, it's going to hit everybody, different, as a mother, because had I not had, two children, other
Mhm.
children, then that would have took that title away from me, so my heart goes out. Mother's Day is coming up, and you have mothers who's lost a child and that was their only child. That title is no longer relevant, to them.
That's
So
true.
that's, they're no longer a parent. So yeah, grief it sneaks up on you. It comes up, but at the same time, we feel, oh, we have to deal with, we have to be strong. No, you don't have to be strong. Being strong is admitting how you feel, how you really feel about it. Yeah.
And being real. Yep. But
Yeah.
yeah,
Hmm.
we gonna tap in a lot on a lot of different topics. But we just testing the
Yes.
waters.
This is our first
But so far
live.
this was great. Yeah, this was
Right. I
great.
was excited. Hopefully we can get, if anybody would like to come up, and I know, it's hard coming up and sharing your story with everybody, but if you can give us, just little ideas. It don't have to be in details, it don't have to be names, but just situations that you've dealt with, or even if you got the steps to heal, if you start applying them, even, little things like that. But just, send us a message if you'd like to be on the next come up and be, a guest to speak. We would love that. We'll welcome you. Yep.
Or just like,
All right.
Kira did, just interaction in the comments help too. So
Right.
we can
True.
kind of
Yeah.
speak to, what you say in the
Mm-hmm.
comments as well. So we love you
Right.
all.
We
Thank
love
you
you
for your
guys
time.
so much. And
Yes.
we're out.
Thanks.
Yeah. Okay.
Deuces.
Bye bye. Bye bye. I gotta see how to get out of here.